Hi folks, this is your MWIS Winter Planner updated on Friday the 16th of February. We're on site at Fort William Mountain Festival this weekend. We're in the exhibition zone, so if you are around, do come and say hello. We've got some weather skills workshops on Saturday and Sunday morning as well. And the following weekend, we have our full day course, our Day with MWIS in Edinburgh. Tickets are available for that, all the information on our website. The weather situation at the moment is rather mild. We are drawing in the air from the subtropics on a south to southwesterly flow, and that will be the same into this weekend as well. Just a gap in between weather systems right now on Friday before an Atlantic low gets closer to us during Saturday. That will see a front pushing in and winds will strengthen from the south, and some rain will turn more persistent into the afternoon across western Scotland, most of western Britain, in fact, later on in the day. And that's becoming heavier onwards into late afternoon and evening time. A few hours worth of heavy rain, the most prolonged of that across the hills of Wales and into northwest England for a time overnight. That rain could be quite slow to clear across Wales and southern parts of the Pennines into Sunday morning. For Scotland, the front has gone, but we've got the leftovers of drizzly showers still coming in on a rather damp westerly airflow into the West Highlands. So low cloud may well persist here throughout the daytime and keeping things rather damp. Drier and clearer toward the eastern half of the Highlands, higher cloud bases and some breaks towards higher slopes. Taking that story into the start of next week, and another front just goes through overnight and into early Monday, giving another spell of rain for a time. That weakening as a ridge of high pressure builds in, leaving a legacy of some drizzly showers again near the west coast of Scotland. Another front approaches from the west into Tuesday. The source of the air by this stage turning round to more North Atlantic origins, with the air originating off northern Canada and Greenland as we head further into the week. So a shift of the pattern and some colder conditions in the forecast for the middle part of the week and onwards. Looking at how that pattern develops on the freezing level situation, and over this weekend it's above freezing to the highest tops. You'd have to be up to around 2,000 metres in the atmosphere before you get to freezing point on Saturday, a little bit lower on Sunday, but still above freezing to the high tops. Monday is a bit lower. We're down towards around 1,200 metres, maybe even nudging down to 1,000 metres as time goes on through Monday. So back to freezing point on the higher Scottish summits at least. Things just lift again for a while as the airflow is briefly more southwesterly into early Tuesday. It's a few step changes, but gradually we will see a lowering through the middle part of the week. A more marked cold front looks to be coming through around Wednesday, and that sees a sharper drop of temperature and freezing level, potentially down below 800 metres, even 600 metres across much of northern Britain as we head through into Thursday. So the potential there, some substantially colder air and sub-zero conditions returning to the mountains. There may be some fluctuations in that, especially further south, but for Scotland at least, it looks as though colder weather patterns are getting back in. The snow situation on the ground is very much confined to Scottish mountains on higher terrain. Still a decent coverage across those higher tops at this stage. There will be thawing going on though through this weekend, so becoming patchier to increasingly higher elevations, but the high tops will still keep their covering where there's some consolidated snow from recent weeks as well. Running that story onwards then, and nothing will really change to top things up for a while. But as we do head towards the middle and second half of the week, things start to fill in again as colder patterns get back in. And if we do get colder air become more extensive further south, there's the scope at least by Friday of some snow on the ground across the hills and mountains of northern England and Wales as well. Some wet conditions initially as those fronts come through. A trailing series of fronts could be quite a complicated sequence around Tuesday, Wednesday. The risk of some heavy rain before things do start to turn back to snow to lowering elevations. So an unsettled spell, windy conditions as well, gales across the mountains again for a few days, unfortunately, as we've got these patterns coming in from the Atlantic. There's that sort of colder push of air then coming around from the west-northwest by the second half of the week. Lower pressure just tracking a bit further southwards with time. Detail will be uncertain. All in all, it still does look rather unsettled, so we're not finding any real windows of good weather in there at this stage. But at least it's colder by that time, so we're getting snow back onto the mountains. Showers with hail mixed in as well. Still rather windy and still with low pressure systems looking to be in charge even towards next weekend. So trying to find a decent settled spell or a high does remain rather elusive at this stage as things remain dominated by low pressure. The long-range modelling seems to have struggled in that respect. There's been hints of high pressure on the horizon, which doesn't really always seem to have materialised when it's got nearer to that point. This is where we are for the week for the 26th to the 4th of March, and the suggestion from the modelling here is that higher pressure would exist to the southwest. There'd be higher pressure away around Scandinavia and to the east, lower pressure system around southern Europe, and a low up towards Greenland. So we're a bit in between patterns, still maybe looking at Atlantic dominated airflows, but coming in from the west by northwest at least would keep things on the cooler side. And if that ridge of higher pressure does start to build a bit from the west, then things could just quieten down somewhat. So some wintry conditions coming back into the mountain forecast during the week ahead. We'll keep you up to date with those developments. That is your winter planner for today. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.